Okay, so what I currently have in front of me is my intensifying disco. So I can turn this knob and the party gets crazy, and I can turn it down and it gets slower and slower and slower. Okay, so I've got this handy analog knob that I can move and change, and different things will happen depending on that. Now this video is just me sort of having a play and trying to make go a step further than that. All right, so let's have I'll have a think about it for a second, see what we can come up with. All right, so I had a little think about it. What I think I could do is plug a button in. So now I'm going to be like the visual DJ of this disco. I'm going to be able to turn the knob to make that boop, 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 lights go off faster and faster and slower if I want to. But also if I press the button, maybe like a different light pattern will come up. Maybe. Or maybe, yeah, maybe like a different light pattern. Okay, so let's think about this. I'm going to have to plug my button back in. So I'm going to need a new constant. Let's call it button. So I'm starting to wish I hadn't have deleted the button the first time around. I could have just commented it out if I wanted to. Name pin 13 button. Now I'm just going to plug that in before I forget. Otherwise I'm going to wonder why things aren't working. Okay, so I've got my button plugged in. Create variables. Now I've got a dial state, which is equal to 0, but I also need now a button state, which is going to be equal to 0. Okay, create a variable to read button status. Okay, so setup code. I've got a new pin. It's a what's it called? It's called button, and it's an input. Make sure you make your comments. Initialize port 13 as an input. Okay, so I've got okay, I'm going to cheat here by doing a bit of copy and paste, which isn't cheating at all, just faster. So need a new variable called, well, I need to name my button state. Now the button state is going to be a digital read of button. Okay, define, maybe this wouldn't have been, maybe typing it out would have been better. Define button state as a digital read of the dial. Oops, stuffed up my comments there. That's an analog read. Okay, of the button. Okay, so I've already got my disco code here. If the dial state is less than that, do that. Else, I've never been happy with this because it doesn't do exactly what I wanted it to do. It really should be more like else. Digital write red low, digital write green low. Now I'm just going to save this as multi-input disco. I'm saving it as something else because if I've stuffed this up, I'm really going to be sad. Okay, sketch, just upload that. I haven't done anything with the button yet. I'm just making sure that everything that I've done so far, I haven't missed any semicolons or anything, because I'm sure I have. But it would be silly to keep coding and coding and not knowing that. While that's happening, I'll just put my comments in. Okay, expected primary expression before that. Hey, put some comments in. Why did I comment that out? That's weird. Alright, let's try that again. We'll upload that. Okay, so I put a comment before a piece of code. Don't know why I would have done that. That seems strange. Okay, digital right green. Expected primary expression before that. Oh, I missed the number 0. Man. Okay. Tools, upload. This is what happens when you try to do things fast. Take your time with it. Expected a thingy before the thingy. Did you? Red. Oh, I used the wrong bracket in there. Whew. Don't rush. Digital right was not declared in this scope. Sketch, upload it. Okay, expected something at the end of this. Okay, so I've lost one of my brackets. That must have been the one that I stuffed up earlier. So you can see this is coding. Hopefully you won't do it quite as badly as I've done here, but coding is making mistakes and fixing them and fixing them and fixing them until they work. Now this code that I've just done shouldn't really do anything apart from the fact that, like, when the knob is turned off, there should be no light, and when it's turned on, we should have our disco, and our disco gets heavier and heavier as we go, faster and faster as we go. Right, so it does exactly what I wanted it to do. I made about 10 mistakes doing it, but whatever, I guess that's part of the fun. Now I'm going to get to do what I wanted to do, which is set the button to do a different thing. Now I'm going to cheat here by taking my if statement, my entire if statement, and copying it and pasting it. Because all if statements are pretty much the same, it's just the things that you do in the if statement that count. So if button state is equal to 1, turning it on. Okay, what do I want to happen when I press the button? What about like both going? So digital right red high, digital right green high. The delay, oh yeah, if I make the delay the dial state, if I press the button and I turn the dial, that's going to be cool. Okay, so if you take a look at what's happening here, red's turning on and green's turning on at the same time. The delay will be the amount that the dial is turned, and then then we turn them off, and then the delay again will be the dial state, and then if the button isn't pushed, I'm not going to put anything in there. Okay, so if I put something in there, I know that last time I put something in there and I sort of regretted it, but I didn't put anything. But if I put something in there now, I'm going to have something conflicting, because it's going to say, okay, well, the button's not pushed, so turn the red and green off. But I actually want other things to happen if the button's not pushed. If the button's not pushed and the dial's turned, I want the dial code to run. So I'm going to put nothing in that else here. Okay. I'll get rid of those comments there. Now we should, I don't know. Let's see what happens. Not holding out high hopes here. I'm pretty sure we're going to see an orange something come up here. Okay, well the coding's nice, at least. So my button's not pressed and my dial hasn't been turned. So I'm going to turn my dial now. Disco. Alright, I'm just going to get the disco really happening. Okay, So everyone's going boom, boom, yeah, party, party. Okay, and then if I press the button, come on, button, press. Oh, wait, did I get confused? Whoa, what's going on? Okay. Okay, I think we've got a few problems here, but I'm just going to do the most obvious one. Button state, it's high or low, it's not 1. I don't know why I went with that. Okay, so I'm just going to upload that code now. Now, I still think that there's going to be a big problem here. Okay, so let's take a look now at what's happening. Oh, okay. So the button's not pushed, but the lights are definitely going out of sync. I feel like what this is telling me is that this code here is running at the same time that this code is happening, which isn't really what I had in mind. I think I've stuffed up that button state again. I think it needed to be high. Then it should only, then that second code should only run if I press the button. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so red, green, red, green, red. Okay, so that's working. Red, green, in accordance with however far I've turned that knob. That's working. Let's just set it a bit slower so we can see it happening. Red, green. Just turn that red around so you can see it. Pressing the button. Okay, so you can see now when I press that button, a different pattern emerges, but it's not the pattern that I imagined. The reason that the pattern isn't working for me at this point is because this if statement is true when the dial is turned, and this if statement is true when the button is pushed. Now, what I imagined in my head was that if this happened, it would take over from this. But that's definitely not what's going to happen. If you press the button, it just means that this and this are going to happen at the same time. So it's going to be sending digital writes and digital writes at the same time from both of those if statements. And what you're going to end up with is this different effect, the lights going off at different times. So I'm going to have to come up with a way to make it so that this overrides this. Okay, so let me ponder that. Alright, so I had to think about it. What I need is like an and or an or a not statement. You guys have had some practice with that. I'm just going to go up here to the, I'm on the Arduino.cc website. I'm going to go to Learning Reference here. If I go to Learning Reference, I should be able to find all this cool stuff. You guys have seen something very, very similar for Robot C before. What am I looking for? Booleans. Okay, so this looks like a Boolean. I'm just going to click that so I can see an example of that Boolean in use. Alright, so you can see if digital read is equal to high and digital read is equal to high. Okay, so I can use that and statement maybe. So I'm just going to keep that. That's two and symbols in a row. And then there's an or. So I might use that or as well, I'm not really sure. But those two should get me out of this. There's also a not. Not might work as well. Okay, so I'll think about that. Okay, let's go back here. There's my push button disco. It's my multi-input disco. Okay, so if the dial state is less than 120 and button state is equal to low. Okay, so have a think about what I've done there. I've said that if the dial state is less than 120, so that means it's turned on, remember it's backwards, and the button state is off, then do this. Okay, so both of those things need to be true for that to happen. Otherwise, turn off the lights. I'm going to get rid of that else. I'm worried about that, but I'm gonna do something sneaky to get myself out of it. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave the nothing in that else column. Test for button turn. Test for dial turned on and button turned off. Okay, and here I think I'm gonna do. This one should be fine because as soon as I turn this button on, this should turn off, and whatever's here should happen. I reckon I might have something awesome here. Alright, let's see what happens if I do this. Not holding out high hopes. Probably stuffed something up. Probably in that Boolean or something. No, that's alright. Okay, so I've got it. Let's see what happens now. Turn the dial. Okay, so I've still got that turn dial thing. That's still happening just fine. Now we've got our green lights. I'll get my green lights and my red lights here. Okay, green lights and red lights. Sorry. Move that in the right spot. Okay, now I'm going to press the button, see what happens. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, now, hopefully the other thing that this does is that if I push the button, again, I'm flashing at the same time. They're flashing at the same time. But I should also be able to turn the knob now. And they flash at the same time, but they speed up. Whoa, okay. Okay, you can see this is just taking a little bit of time. That's about 17 minutes or so. But we got there in the end. We have a multi-input disco switch. If I put a few more inputs in there and mess around with it, I might have something that I can take to the club. Alright, thanks guys.